KnightCap. Sal Internell here with Will Montgomery following Army's 41-21 loss to Rice here at Michie Stadium. Rice right away in the first half just really rolled offensively. There was a point in the second quarter with about 2 minutes left when Rice had 248 total yards on offense. Army had 53. It was a dominant performance early for Rice, and they just kind of continued it throughout most of the game. Fourth quarter, Army got the stops, but it was way too late, and it was a loss. Not really a disappointing loss. The Army wasn't really in the game too much in this one. Will.
Yeah, I mean, for me, really the key play, Army gets back within 10, kind of just right before halftime. Early on Army's first drive in the third quarter, fumble. Next play, Rice, 41-yard touchdown, right down the middle, guys wide open.
Blown coverage.
And, that was really just the game right there. That just put Rice too far ahead with too little time for Army to, even come back. And just that whole sequence of events, a fumble, big play touchdown, it was kind of just that knockout punch that really just took Army out of the game right there.
Yeah, and Coach Monken talked about the fumble a little bit in the post-game press conference. It's the ball that just kind of flew up into the air that I don't even know if Angel really got his hands under from Matt Hugenberg, the center. The conditions didn't play a part in this game. It stopped raining right around game time. It just and the errors by Army today, didn't give it much of a chance either. Angel had a couple. Angel had a pitch to Tony Giovanelli that he probably should have ate, and that turned into a turnover for Army. And they just really didn't get the offense rolling early. Rice's defensive line did an incredible job. They won. Rice's lines themselves, offensive and defensively, won the battle in the trenches today. The game was won up front today. You look at Rice's quarterback, Jackson. He completed 13 of his first 14 passes. Well, Army tried to blitz him, and they couldn't get to him. There was a couple times where he looked off his first receiver, got to his second receiver. And it was just not a good. It's a sloppy day of football on Army's part, tackling too, and it's a bad recipe here for the Black Knights.
Yeah, one of the things looking at the game notes for me before this game, you look at Rice last week. They played Hawaii. They had 12 tackles for losses, 7 of those were sacks. Yeah. And you figure, well, they're not going to do anything like that today against a team that doesn't pass. Well, they had 13 tackles for a loss today.
Yes.
And only one of those was a sack. So they stopped Army behind the line of scrimmage on 12 of their running plays. And when you're a team like Army that runs the option and your whole offense is predicated on getting 4 or 5 yards at least when you run the ball, and you can't do that, you're getting tackled for a loss, something's really wrong. And they just got pushed around today.
The triple option, you always say, okay, you get 3 yards of play, you're going to get the first down, you're going to go for it on 4th and 1. And today, it just wasn't happening. There was one drive in the second quarter where Angel Santiago was sacked for an 8-yard loss. He was dropped for a 1-yard loss behind the line of scrimmage. Then he threw a screen pass to Larry Dixon. He's dropped for a 1-yard loss punt. Not a lot of positivity going on there. And you just got to give it up to Rice. They came in here, and both teams were 2-3 coming in. Both teams need this game. Rice wanted it a little bit more. They played a little better, a lot better. And now Army sent, to Kent State, a winless Kent State next weekend, needing the win. They're down 2-4. They must win at Kent State if they want to have any hope at a postseason bowl game. You say that it's only the 7th game, and you're saying that, but it is what it is. Today, you see, you talked about that opening drive in the third quarter, and before Army rushes out to the field, they go see, they basically are, weaving their way through the Rice sidelines to, get to their core, and then coming across the field, they're all pumped up, and man, that fumble just takes the wind right out of the crowd, and that was pretty. There wasn't much really to celebrate after that. Larry Dixon got banged up in the fourth quarter. He went back into the game. It looked like an ankle injury. You think that, Jeff Bacon's still out there, safety. He probably will not be back next week. You're thinking if they lost their other captain to an injury going against Kent State, then you think what might happen. But Larry said after the game he feels fine. He'll be back for Kent State next week. That's another regroup. It's another back to the basics for Army. God, they just got to tackle better. It's really to a point where it's a problem. Coach Monken knows it's a problem. He works on it. He does a period of it at least a day on just focusing on fundamentals and tackling. And he said he can't do 18 periods. He can't devote a full practice to tackling because then you don't work on any schemes. And then what do you have left, for your team that week of practice? And it's just, I don't know. It's not been the greatest tackling here since I've been covering the team. It's always been a problem. And I think that this home game, you figured they feed off the crowd, they play better on defense, and it just wasn't meant to be.
Yeah. I guess my question for you this week, after last week, it was, playing both quarterbacks. They both play again today, but it doesn't seem like that's the point. It seems like this team, they haven't won back-to-back games since September of 2010.
Yeah.
And, just that consistency of being able to have a good game like they did last week against Ball State and not being able to come out here and replicate that again, even against, probably a Royce team that's much better than Ball State. But is that kind of really the issue with this team, of just not being consistent? They can't do it on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah.
And is that the, kind of the issue moving forward?
Well, that's what when Coach Monken comes in as a coach, that's something that he wants to fix. And it's not something that's gonna happen in 8 to 10 months. This is a team that has only known losing, to be matter of fact. I mean, they've only won 10 games now, 10 games in 4 years. And it's a part of the learning process, but you're not sure who they're going to start during the week. Both AJ Shore and Santiago take first team snaps on Thursday. They tell Santiago he's going to be the starting quarterback. He plays, and he had his moments where he ran the offense pretty decently, but when you're playing catch up in a triple option offense, it's not something you really want to do down 2 scores, 3 scores, and
the turnovers just kill you, and you can't have turnovers when you're playing from behind.
Absolutely not. And it's just a matter of when is this team going to find it on defense, offense, and special teams in the game? When they do, they're going to be pretty tough to beat, but that offense needs to click a little bit earlier in the game. The defense needs to get off the field a lot earlier in the game. Special teams wasn't just not a factor today. I mean, it's just non-existent, not to their part. They just weren't a part of the game today. And I think it's something that, what can Coach Monken do to make this team be more consistent? Well, he can drill in their heads in practice, but unless they're doing it on the football field on Saturdays and playing consistently every down, playing their assignments, blocking the right guys, not letting guys run scot-free. God, how many times did you see Angel Santiago or Army running back just be tackled by a guy who wasn't even blocked today? I mean, how does that even happen? This is a pretty veteran team on offense. I mean, the offensive line has 2 seniors, but it's a team that you're talking the 6th game of the season now. You can't have missed assignments like that, and that's if that happens down the road, Army's going to be fighting from behind a lot more this season, and they need to correct that immediately. We'll wrap it up at Nightcap again. From Mikey Stadium, Army loses 41-21 at Rice. With Will Montgomery, I'm Sal Internado.
On every single series, our mission is to score, and when there's no reason why we can't score. If everybody on every single play, really, if we're all hitting our assignments and getting people down, we need to get down. There's no time limit on how long it's supposed to score.
As the young men who were up here were saying, just the lack of execution of a lot of times our assignments and certainly fundamentals. We weren't a good blocking team or good tackling team today, and that cost us. We had them tackled several times, we had hands on them, and weren't able to make the tackles. And we've seen that the last couple of weeks. Yet last week was better than the week before, but just not a good enough job. Those fundamentals, blocking, sustaining blocks, didn't take care of the ball very well. The center quarterback exchange to start the second half there in that drive was awfully disappointing. And they scored a 1-play drive, and we were in coverage and didn't play the coverage correctly, and had a guy miss an assignment. He's obviously running straight down the field with no contest. So things like that are awfully disappointing. We can't make mistakes like that here and overcome it. We've got to be able to play better in terms of those things. So it's my job to get our team prepared to do that, and the job of our staff, but also the responsibility of our players, and they understand that. And we got to play better if we're going to hope to beat a good football team like Rice. And they are a good football team, well-coached team, talented team, and a team with a lot of experience. And we're going to have to play a lot better if we're going to hope to win.